Okay, this week we're going to take a look at solving equations.
Are you recording this? Why?
Okay, so what's an equation? What? Has an equal sign. So an equation is a mathematical expression with an equal sign. Okay? So before we were talking about expressions, we wrote expressions, okay?
With and with.
No equal sign.
Expression with and with equal.
Oh. Sorry.
Wow.
With and
Equal.
equals.
And then put sign. Right sign.
Sign.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do we solve these? We're isolating the variable, getting the variable by itself, right? So when I look at this problem, and again, if you like to draw this line to separate your equation, do it. Okay? I'm probably not going to. But if you like to do that, it maybe makes you focus on what the side you're working on. Okay? So I'm looking here, I'm isolating, I'm getting this x by itself. How do I get rid of the plus 2? Minus it. So I'm going to subtract 2. So x then equals negative 10. And again, don't just cross stuff out. Make sure it equals 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay? Or if I'm dividing, make sure it equals 1. Things don't just cancel out automatically. That's where people make mistakes. Okay? So you write something down, you just cross it out. Alright, number 2. Y minus 8 equals 7. How do I get rid of the minus 8? You add it. Good. So plus 8 plus 8. Negative 8 plus 8 is 0. So y equals 7 plus 8, 15. Again, you can always check your answer by doing what? Putting it back in the problem. 15 minus 8 in your calculator. Enter 7. We're good. Okay? What about multiplication? Negative 3v minus or equals 9. Divide.
Okay.
Dividing by that same value, so dividing by negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is a positive 1. 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. So v is negative 3. Number 4, t over 4. Fraction means what? Division. So we're going to do what to get rid of this 4 on the bottom? We're going to multiply by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So it leaves me with 1t. Negative 6 times 4. Negative 24. Now, take a look at 5. How do I get rid of fractions? What if I have negative 2/3 w equals 8? How do I get rid of a fraction? What? I multiply by what? Okay. If I multiply by the bottom number, what's it going to get rid of? Just the bottom number. How do I get rid of the top number too? Yeah, put it as a fraction. So flip that fraction. 2 over 3 multiplying by 3 over 2. And because it's negative, we're going to multiply by another negative. Okay. Now, you can cancel top to bottom now. So anything on top, 3 cancels with the 3. 2 cancels with 2. Negative and negative make positive, right? So it leaves me with just 1 again. Same thing here. If I want to, 8 divided by 2 is what? 4. So the 8 can turn into a 4. 2 is gone. 4 times 3 then is 12. And it's negative. Okay? They're multiplying. So 4 times negative 3, negative 12. Okay? Again, you don't have to simplify at the beginning. You could multiply 8 times negative 3. You get negative 24. Then take half of 24 and get 12. Okay? But again, I like, if I'm doing this in my head, I'm probably going to simplify if I can, because then I'm working with smaller numbers, multiplying smaller numbers, okay?
Alright.
All of those were one-step type problems. So there were 5 problems there, 1 step to solve, okay? Here in number 6, a little different. Now we have a number with the variable and a constant here, okay? So again, working on the same side, working away from that variable to get closer to it. So how do I get rid of a plus -2? Yeah, since it's a -2, just like subtraction, so we're going to add 2. Okay, don't get confused on those double signs. Okay, so 3b, -2 plus 2 is 0, 7 plus 2, 9. And now we're going to take our 1 step here, get rid of multiplying by dividing by 3. So 3's canceled, using 1b equals 9 divided by 3, and 3. And again, always check it, or always check your answer by plugging it in. 3 times 3 is 9, plus a -2 is 7. We're good. Okay? What if I have parentheses? Okay, I always can get rid of parentheses by distributing. So be careful. If it's a -4 or a -4 out front, take that negative with your number when you distribute. So take it. Oh, I don't know why it does this. Take the -4 and distribute it in. -4 times 1, -4r, -4 times -5, +20. Now, not only do we have parentheses, we also have variables on both sides. So you can see here, again, I'm going to draw this line just so you see it. I have -4r here. I have a 2r on the right side. So typically, it's not wrong. I always move the variables first, okay? Because sometime these variables are going to cancel out, and it's going to save me a step in the end, okay? That's the only reason why. So it doesn't matter if you move the numbers first, okay, the constants on one side, or if you move the variable first, doesn't matter, okay? Again, if the variables cancel out, moving the variables will save you 1 step, but not a big deal. So again, let's move these. Again, I typically move the smaller of the two. It doesn't matter if they're on the right side or the left side. Okay, so -4 is my smallest, so I'm going to add 4r to both sides. Typically what that does when I move the smaller is keeps my numbers positive. So it keeps the number with the r positive for the most part. So I add those cancel, it gives me 20. 2r plus 4r is 6r. Okay, so let's take a look now. So now I have 6r plus 32 on the right side, so I need to get rid of the 32, so we're going to subtract 32. So 20 minus 32 is -12. 32's make 0, and then divide by 6 in the end. -12 divided by 6 is -2. So r equals -2. Again, you can check by plugging it back in. So -2 minus 5 is -7. -7 times -4 is +28. 2 times -2 is -4 plus 32 gives me 38. So 38 and 38, we're good. Okay. Now, be careful on this next type problem, okay? So, if I just have a negative out front, okay, yeah, actually there's a 1 here, so we can always plug in this 1, and I'm going to distribute that in. So I'm taking this negative and I'm distributing to both. So 8s minus 3s minus 5 is now 25. Now,
Is it plus?
no,
You put some minus?
because I'm distributing it. So
Oh.
negative 1 times positive, negative, negative times positive, negative. Yep.
Oh.
So change the sign to both of those, because again, I'm subtracting that whole parentheses. Okay? So to get rid of those parentheses, we're going to distribute that negative in. Now, be careful here. See all my s's, my variables are on the same side?
Yeah.
This is just combined like terms. Okay? Here we had to subtract them over, different sides of the equal sign. But when I look here, these are on the same side of the equal sign. So I just do whatever the sign is. Just combine them. 8 minus 3. Careful. 8 minus 3. 5. Minus 5 is equal to 25.
Wait, this is all one.
And now let's move that negative 5 over. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. So 5s, 5's cancel. 25 plus 5 gives me 30. Last step, Briar, is what?
Equals 6.
Divide by 5. And s then equals 6. Because 30 divided by 5 is 6. Okay. Alright. Alright. So again here, number 9. So 3m plus 5 equals 3m minus 2. So again, let's get the variables on the same side. So it doesn't matter, they're both same side, so we're going to subtract 3m. So 3m is 0, 3m minus 3m is 0. What am I left with? 5 equals negative 2. So here, and this is that one that saves me one extra step. Okay? The variables canceled out. And I'm left with two numbers. 5 equals negative 2. Okay? Now, I look at this. Does 5 equal negative 2?
No.
No. Not true, right? Since this is not true, there is no solution. Okay? So this is special. No solution. Variables cancel. Numbers don't equal each other. No solution. Okay? So, thinking back here, if I move my numbers first, okay, and there's nothing else on that one side, you're just going to put a 0 as a placeholder. Okay? So if you move your numbers first, you may get 0 equals, in this case, you would get 0 equals negative 7. That's not true either. Okay? So it still won't be true. So you still will get no solution. Alright, number 10. So again, we've got parentheses, so let's distribute. So 5n, 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. 8n minus 3n minus 40. Again, if you want to combine some steps there, you can, because I have variables on the same side here. So we're going to combine those. So 5n minus 40. 8n minus 3n is 5n. Again, you may notice something already. Let's get our variables on the same side. So minus 5n. So variable 5n minus 5n is 0, leaves me with negative 40. 5n minus 5n 0 leaves me with negative 40. And now I look at these two numbers, okay? And what do you notice? Negative 40 equals negative 40. This is true. So what do you think? There's a couple things that they may say. So they can say infinitely many. So infinitely many solutions. Okay. They can say all real numbers. Okay. To go with all real numbers, there's a symbol here. It's like a double R. Okay. So that represents all real numbers. But it doesn't matter. I can take any number and I can plug it in there. I'm going to get the same answers. Okay. So any number works on this. All real numbers, infinitely many solutions. Okay. And again, you may have noticed here, once I combined these at 5n minus 40, 5n, again, at some point, you're going to have the same thing on both sides. Okay? So, as soon as you notice it's the exact same on both sides, you can see that that's that true statement to all real numbers. Okay? So those are your two special cases there. No solution, infinitely many. Alright, so flip it over on the back. So, here we're solving for variables now. So, before we solved for one variable with given numbers, right? Now I'm going to have multiple variables. So here I'm solving for W. I'm solving it the same way. Okay? So, if this was a number, this 2L, that's what I need to get rid of, right? If it was a number, how would I get rid of it? What? No. Yeah, I'm going to subtract it. Okay? Thinking about it as a number. If this was a number, I want to move it to the other side, right? So I'm going to subtract it. So if I want to move something from one side to the other, I'm going to add or subtract it. Always. Okay? So I'm going to subtract 2L. So 2L minus 2L is 0. It's gone. So now I'm left with 2W. And I have P minus 2L. And again, with these, a lot of time, the stuff just doesn't go away. It just doesn't combine. Okay? Now I have 2W. How do I get W by itself? Now I'm going to divide. So dividing by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 1W. And you can leave it just like this big fraction. Okay? If you want to, you could separate it. Okay? If you would separate it, you need to put the 2 with both parts. So you would have P over 2 minus 2L over 2. And again, the reason you may want to separate this, or you could separate this, is because this 2 cancels with this 2. So then it just makes a P over 2 minus L. Okay? So I'm okay with just leaving it once I got to this point. Okay, I got W by itself, I solved for it, done. If you want to, if it's a multiple choice type question, they may go a step further and get to this point. Okay, but for the most part, you're good right there at first, once you get W by itself. What about number 12? Solving for D, C equals pi D. How do I get rid of pi? Remember, pi is just a number, right? Yeah. Careful. Yeah, it's divide. So pi is multiplied with the D, so we're going to divide by pi. So C divided by pi equals D, and we're done. D's by itself. So again, if I'm moving that whole grouping, so here in this first one, 2L, I'm moving the whole group, 2L, to the other side, I'm going to add or subtract. Okay? Here, I just need to get rid of the pi. I want to keep the D, get rid of the pi, so I'm going to, this is multiply, so I'm going to divide. Okay? 13. Solve for the variable r. Now, when I look here, this is all one group, right? PRT. It's interest formula. So PRT is all one group, and it's all being what? Multiplied together. So to undo multiplying, we're going to divide. And since it's all being multiplied, I can just divide by what do I want to get rid of? The P and the T. So P's cancel, T's cancel, just leaves me with the R. And so I have I, interest over principal times time. And I'm done. So what can I do here in 14 then? Solving for H. Same thing, divide by what? Divide by LW. So we have the volume formula. So L's cancel, oops, not H's. W's cancel. So leaves me with an H over on the right side. So volume divided by length times width gives me the height. Alright? Good. Alright, one more problem here, a little word type problem. It says the perimeter of a garden is 600 feet. The length is 10 more than the width. What are the dimensions of the garden? So, how do I calculate perimeter? So I have a garden. It's just a rectangle, right? How do I calculate? I have my length and my width, right? 2 dimensions. How do I calculate the perimeter? Yeah, I'm adding all the sides up. So, adding up length plus the width plus the length plus the width. So there's a couple things here. So length plus width plus length plus width. So I could have simplified this down into saying what? How many L's do I have? 2 of them. And 2 W's. Not squared, just 2. Right? Not squaring them. So I don't want to multiply those same numbers, I just want to, I'm adding them, so it's multiplying by 2. Okay? So the perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay? Now, it does give me some information here. It says the length is 10 more than the width. Well, do we know the width? No. Well, if width is W, what's length going to be equal to then? It says length is what? 10 more than the width. So how do I write 10 more than the width? Yeah, W plus 10 or 10 plus W. Right? So I'm going to take this and I can plug it in here. Right? I can also take this 600, because that's my perimeter, right? And plug it in to my P. So now I have 600 equals 2 times 10 plus W plus 2W. So now I can distribute this 2. Okay? And again, you could have left it like this top equation and just wrote 10 plus W plus W plus 10 plus W plus W. Right? Anywhere L would have been, you would have just plugged it in. So distribute. So 2 times 10, 20. 2 times W, 2W plus 2W equals 600. So again, we can combine like terms here, have 2 W's, right? If I want to do 2 steps at one time, I can subtract this 20. So 580 equals 2W and 2W make what? How many W's? 4 W's, right? And you can see that here if I plug that 10 plus 10W in there. I end up with the same equation here then. Last step then is what? Divide by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 into 580. Big number. 4 into 5 goes once, right? 1 left over. 4 into 18 goes 4 times with 2 left over. 4 into 20 goes 145. So W is 145.
Four?
18. If I had one, yeah, I had one left, right? Because there was 1 left over. Yep. So W is 145. So 145 here, and that's feet. How do I find my length? Yeah, my length is 10 more than W, right? So if W is 145, 10 plus 145 gives me what? 155. So my length is 155. And that would give me that perimeter of 600 feet. Okay, so if I was looking to buy a fence for 600 feet, I could make this my dimensions and it would work out perfect. Okay?